Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Western Montana continues to be the epicenter of wildfires and evacuations. Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. 1,000 homes now in the Seeley Lake area are evacuated. That evacuation order coming Monday night because of the Rice Ridge fire. Emergency
officials say residents should be on alert and ready to go. Take a look at this map. There are about 1,090 homes and buildings threatened by this fire. The mandatory evacuation orders are for 1,000 homes. Those mandatory evacuations are for the following areas: the junction of Highway 83 and Cedar Lane northeast to Morrell Creek Road. The boundary continues along Cottonwood Lakes Road east to the forest boundary, Cottonwood Lakes Road at the forest boundary, and south to the northern boundary of the Double Arrow.
Also the junction of Highway 83 and Whitetail Drive east to the junction of Whitetail Drive and Dolly Varden, and the southern boundary continues east to include the area north of the Commons and eastward to the intersection of Montana Drive and South Canyon Drive. It continues southeast from there along Montana Drive to the junction with Glacier Drive, and then south to the junction with Double Arrow Road, including Pyramid Loop and areas in the Double Arrow subdivision to the south and east. Also the junction of Highway 83 and Cedar Lane south of the junction of 83 and Whitetail Drive.
Areas under evacuation warning include the area from South Boy Scout Road north to Tamaracks Resort, west of Highway 83 and east of the lake. Also under warnings include all properties from the intersection of Woodworth Road and Highway 83 east to Skilly Drive, and all properties north of Woodworth Road.
And we're continuing to closely monitor this rapidly changing wildfire situation to get the most critical information you need.
Well, for the very latest on what's happening, let's send it to MTN's Eric Clements, who's live in Seeley Lake now. Eric.
The conditions continue to deteriorate there. You saw those evacuations that took place into the evening on Monday as the sheriff's office put out the alert for people, initially about 580 homes, to get out with a mandatory evacuation, the first mandatory evacuation we saw. The big problem, of course, was the change in the wind conditions that happened on Monday afternoon. The fire, which had been burning off to the east, all of a sudden north winds came in and in a very short period of time made that fire much more active. As the conditions continue to deteriorate, crews are confident they can get a handle on the blaze, though, before any structures are lost.
MTN's Don Fisher shows us the plan for the rest of the week.
So firefighters are in this area with some equipment. They're working on flanking it.
Fire Information Officer Aaron Fryer joins about 600 other crew members from John Thompson's incident management team who took over the fight against the Rice Ridge fire near Seeley Lake last week. An already exhausting fire season took its latest dangerous turn while crews were attempting to burn control lines Monday. Winds were initially carrying the fire as planned, but suddenly shifted, forcing the fire south towards many already threatened structures. Fryer says this prompted a quick but necessary evacuation.
It was sudden and unexpected, and we felt like it was best to make the call early so that we could get people out in an orderly fashion than waiting until the fire was too close.
And despite the hasty turn of events, Fryer says crews did have success fighting the fire since arriving on scene, and they hope to build on that momentum.
Certainly that activity has picked up, but the firefighters have also made some great strides in the last week, and we've been able to increase our containment lines as well. So we really taken opportunities and made the most of them and actually tried to be as efficient as possible with the firefighters that we had on the fire.
And Fryer says there likely won't be any breaks for firefighters anytime soon, as weather conditions are continuing to be unfavorable throughout the rest of the week.
But the reality is that we need to know and have a better idea of what the fire is doing and get some of the lines in. We want to make sure that we don't bring people back into the area too early and then have to do this all over again. But we certainly don't want to keep people out any longer than possible.
In Seeley Lake, Don Fisher, MTN News.
And critical fire danger now again a concern across western Montana as temperatures get back into the 90s.
Isolated thunderstorms and gusty winds are in the forecast. That also spells trouble for fires across the region. We turn things over now to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost for the latest.
Absolutely. You know, and with all of that poor air quality in place, today was miserable for some folks as they topped out well into the mid, if not upper 90s with this kind of air quality. This was Hamilton this afternoon, our First Security Bank ICAM. Now, as Jill and Dennis just mentioned, we've got some critical fire danger ahead of us. We've got a 1-2 punch over tomorrow and into Thursday. We've got a cold front approaching. So tomorrow is going to be that threat for dry thunderstorms, lightning, gusty and erratic winds. Then on Thursday, we're going to continue with the breezy post-frontal winds across the area. So critical fire danger here for the next couple of days. And then the extended forecast is more of the same. Got the full forecast on the way.
Thank you, Erin. Missoula County Public Schools announcing that the Seeley Swan High School students won't be hitting the books now until next Tuesday. Classes were canceled today because of those Rice Ridge fire evacuations, landing the school in the middle of the evacuation zone. MCPS spokeswoman Hat Littman says classes will be canceled on Wednesday and Thursday as well due to evacuation orders issued by the Sheriff's Office. The school was already set to be closed on Friday and Monday because of Labor Day. Littman says the district will follow up with more information for students and parents during the weekend regarding alternative locations for the school or reopening it, depending on direction from the Sheriff's Office. The latest evacuations from Rice Ridge have forced officials to close down the post office in Seeley Lake. The postal customers will need to now travel to the Milltown post office on Montana Highway 200 to get their mail. Seeley Lake customers' mail should be ready for pickup starting at noon today. That was changing over. Customers should bring a photo ID when picking up their mail. The post office open weekdays there from 8 until 11:30 and from 12:30 until 4:30. They'll make future decisions on deliveries after they consult with the local emergency managers. And a community meeting held tonight will be held tonight at 7 p.m. at the Ovando Volunteer Fire Department to discuss Rice Ridge Fire.
Ravalli County Sheriff Steve Holton ordered mandatory evacuations for 65 homes near the Nelson fire that is burning south of Darby. That's happening on Nez Perce Road. Those residents now under an evacuation order that includes people living on Lapwai and Fox Lanes and Bear Hollow Court. Sheriff Holton is asking residents to leave the area and evacuate immediately. Ravalli County Sheriff Holton says the Nelson fire was found yesterday afternoon, Monday afternoon, and quickly assessed and staffed by U.S. Forest Service and West Fork firefighters. So they got there starting to fight it. They do know this fire is between 80 to 100 acres. New evacuation warnings have been issued for 225 homes in southeast Ravalli County for those living near the Myers fire. Sheriff Holton says the evacuation warning is for folks on Forest Service Road 5778 Teepee Creek to Forest Service Road 724, which is Little East Fork. This is in the East Fork area, and deputies are going door to door to notify residents of the evacuation warning. Fire managers report that because of near record-setting dry conditions, that fire made significant growth. It actually added 4,800 acres yesterday, primarily in the southwestern part of the fire. The new fire perimeter has moved past the Ravalli-Granite County line and over the hole-in-the-wall area. The blaze, which stands at more than 22,000 acres, is still burning 25 miles southwest of Phillipsburg.
Meanwhile, fire crews are gearing up for weather to give the Lolo Peak fire more momentum, bracing for dry thunderstorms and gusty winds, while residents in neighborhoods from Lolo to Florence are trying to get their lives back to normal after dealing with the fire and the evacuations last week. Fire managers are focusing their attention on mop-up operations and keeping the fire in check to the south. Of particular concern is the fire burning in One Horse Creek directly west of Florence. The fire there has been trying to back down into the drainage, and there's concern about it jumping the creek and climbing back up the ridge line above Sweeney Creek to the south. Crews have been building burnout boxes, stretches of timber already burned to create fire breaks, and that work comes after a challenging weather day on Monday.
We had some thunderstorms off to our west and evidently down to our south yesterday, and we actually sent resources on an initial attack about a mile west of this fire on the Lolo Forest, and we also sent 2 helicopters down to the Nelson fire yesterday, trying to keep that one in check.
Tonight, Greg Ponson's Type 1 team is handing on fire off to a new Type 1 team, which will take over management on the Lolo Peak fire, which has burned almost 39,000 acres and is probably now the most expensive fire in Montana history. Of course, we have information on all the fires burning in western Montana on our website. We continue to track the details, all the critical information, evacuations, and other information, including how you can help online, on air, and with our Facebook and Twitter feeds and the KPAX mobile app. Well, coming up, those isolated thunderstorms in the forecast. Erin explains where those could be popping up.
Coming up after the break, we continue a look at correction reform that was put in place by the Montana legislature. We'll look at the newly appointed parole